Constrictor snakes, however, sense their prey by vibration.
Hmm. Did you know that medieval legends about dragons and giant worms are actually based on snakes? You know, dragons, devils, sea monsters, well, they've always been associated with snakes.
Grace, get alive.
Gabriel cannot see any.
Okay.
I'm going out.
See ya.
Where is it? Gotta remember correctly. Okay, anyways, let's go to... whereas you also can see the animation only plays once. So, we have...
Hey, cut that out. I told you to stop that. All right, mister. You want some of this?
Gabriel likes his own cycle much better. Besides, even Mosley couldn't get him out of that one. Gabriel picks up the headset and listens.
Ambulance 911, have you located the crime scene? They've radioed for you 3 times.
Damn! Did you say it was north of the Lake Retreat Country Club?
South. Lakeside Drive north of Piedmont Pier, south of the country club.
Man, I don't know if it's the clouds out here today or what. Good thing this guy's already dead.
Everyone's having trouble. Must have been hallucinogens in the coffee this morning.
It's just so misty out here or something. Hey, I see a squad car. Got it, Molly.
Thank God. Have a good one, 911.
Interesting.
Stupid mime. Hey, you! Get away from that bike.
Sorry.
Okay, let's get out of here. We have the crime scene. Now we're just gonna pop by our grandmother. Which is not, which is pretty early on because you can't actually get any. Also,
I'm so glad you stopped by.
What's it called?
Sorry it's been a while, Grandma.
The call from
Not at all. Give us a kiss.
From Wolfgang is also pretty early
now
on.
come and sit down.
The original one.
Tell
which
me
I
how you
actually
doing.
remember wrong, but doesn't really. So, we're gonna talk to her grandma.
Can we talk, Gran?
Of course, my boy. How can I help?
What can you tell me about voodoo?
Voodoo? What an odd question, Gabriel. Of course, you always were interested in monster movies and all that other weird stuff. You get that from your father and granddad. I don't know anything about it, dear. Of course, it was very big in New Orleans at one time, but you don't hear about it so much these days. Too much else in the world to worry about, I guess.
Tell me about our family.
Who would you like to hear about? Your granddad, your father, or your mother?
Tell me something about Granddad.
Your granddad immigrated to America when he was 21. He worked his way through school, met and married me, and we had your father, Philip.
Tell me something about Granddad.
Your granddad supported me and your father with bookkeeping. I'll tell you what, though, he hated every minute of it. Didn't really like bookkeeping one bit. Maybe that was why he had the worst luck with jobs. The nights he'd come home afraid to tell me he'd lost another. And I would tell him it didn't matter to me. But he felt ashamed, Gabriel.
Tell me something about Granddad.
Harrison was only 36 when he died. Your father was 8 years old at the time.
36?
Your granddad
God,
was hit by a streetcar in the business district. Took me nearly a year to believe he was really gone.
I'm sorry, Gran.
I know you are, dear.
Tell me something about Granddad.
Did you know that your granddad was a poet? He was! He wrote the most beautiful poetry for me when we were courting. I always thought he should have done something with that gift. But he was such a practical man. Didn't believe in chasing after dreams.
Tell me something about Granddad.
I don't know what else to tell you, dear.
Tell me about my father.
Your father was my only child. How we adored him. Philip suffered from terrible nightmares, just like your granddad did. They were two peas in a pod.
Tell me about my father.
When Philip met your mother, it was love at first sight. They were married 2 weeks later. Never looked at a girl seriously until then. And he looked at plenty. You have your father's way with women, Gabriel. And your granddad's.
Tell me about my father.
I wanted to just lay down and die when he and your mother were killed in that car crash when you were only 8. It was the thought of taking care of you that kept me going, Gabriel. The police say your father swerved off the road after being frightened by something. Perhaps a deer in the road or a wild cat.
Tell me about my father.
Your granddad wanted Philip to have a normal life. He was obsessed by that thought. He pushed Philip to go to law school. Philip was driven to art. He painted almost in a daze. He would get so inside himself when he worked.
Tell me about my father.
He always hated it that it was Margaret's money that supported the three of you when his painting couldn't. I kept telling him, try something more cheerful, like a landscape or two. But he couldn't do it. His work was just too dark and disturbing for the public, you know.
Tell me about my mother.
Your mother was Margaret Templeton when your father met her. She came from a very wealthy Creole family in New Orleans. She was beautiful and reckless. She was madly in love with your father, of course, but I also think she liked defying her family. Since you're so interested in family history these days, why don't you go by St. Louis Cemetery No. 1 and visit the family tomb? It would be a sweet gesture.
Maybe I will.
Go, let's...
I'm going to go up to the attic, Gran.
Be careful of the dust.
Okay. Also, as you can see here...
Gabriel doesn't want to take the clock.
It looks pretty heavy. I think I'll take Daddy's sketchbook with me.
This here is where you get the sketchbook.
Gabriel looks fondly at his father's sketchbook and charcoal pencil. Images haunt the pages of Philip Knight's sketchbook, the way they must have haunted his mind. The images touch a deep chord in Gabriel. So familiar are they that he finds it hard to believe they aren't from his own subconscious.
Okay. Here already, the key is already here, so now we're gonna
Gabriel doesn't want to take the clock. The hands do not appear to have any mechanical function other than to move.
Okay, so we want 3 o'clock. We want the dragon. This one. Conqueror.
Nothing happens.
Ah, sorry. It's because I chose. There we go.
Granddaddy, you old fox.
3 dragons. And let's...
The letter is written in German, but Gabriel determines what he can about it. It was sent from a place called Schloss Ritter in Rittersberg, West Germany. The letter is addressed to mein Sohn Heinz and signed Wilhelm Ritter. One of the recurring words strewn throughout the letter is the word Schattenjäger. The only thing that Gabriel can decipher about the letter is a sense of urgency in the handwriting and in the heavy use of quill-tipped bold strokes and underlining. The old photographs show Gabriel's grandfather with 2 other men that Gabriel has not identified. The back of the photo has the following written on it: Schloss Ritter, 1925.
Okay. Down. I actually want to show this picture. Brand.
That's it. Take a load off, huh?
Does this mean anything to you, Gran?
That one in the middle is your grandfather. Those other 2, I don't know.
Okay. Let's actually.
That's it. Take a load off, huh?
Can we talk, Gran?
Of course, my boy. How can I help?
Have you ever heard of a Schattenjäger?
Schattenjäger? Schattenjäger. How odd, Gabriel. I haven't heard that word in years. My goodness, you've given me a chill. Your granddad used to say that sometimes in his sleep.
Really? Do you know what it means?
No, I'm afraid not. I asked him about it once. I don't think he answered me. Odd.
Thanks, Gran.
Let's see here. We don't want anything else. Let's get out of here.
Well, Gran, I better get going.
All right, dear.
Okay. Crime scene.
The crime scene team is still at the site. Gabriel parks a bit out of the way and walks over to avoid adding to the general confusion.